Co-creating impact. Hi there. Welcome to Co-creating Impact with Lori and itstimesunshine.com. I am here with Luis. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we met on TikTok and you go by Namaste
CEO.
And what I always like to tease you is that Amy from Bacon Diva, I would love to have her on here, Bacon Diva. I duetted her. She did the one where the hot mess in me sees and acknowledges the hot mess in you. And so I always say that with you, and I love it. Tell me where you came up with the Namaste name and what it means to you.
So the Namaste name it's really funny. It was a moment of so Namaste is literally an acknowledgement, and it's a greeting of acknowledgement. And the first time that I ever used it was because my son was reading. He needed something to read, so I gave him a book about the Buddha, and it was a snore snippet, and it talked about the greeting Namaste, which is the Namaste takes whatever higher power you have, and you insert it into it, and you say, I use love, or I use source. I said the source in me sees and acknowledges the source in you. It's just a greeting. It's just a greeting of acknowledgement. So I literally on Halloween, I was in Joe's live, and I texted in thinking nothing was going to happen. I thought this was amazing. This was like great energy. So I was like, okay, I'll text in, and he ended up calling me, and that was my first word of the day was Namaste. Which was a moment of acknowledgement. And from that moment of being acknowledged for myself and then acknowledging that word, I said, this is what I need to use because somebody acknowledged me, and therefore I'm going to acknowledge everybody that I come across.
Yeah. And that was fantastic because I remember when we were first going into Joe Tang's live, your name was Luis, and he even called you Louis because that's how it's spelled. And tell us a little bit of background about how you say your name.
So completely. So my whole life, and this was actually when I started doing the lives. I think it was the first week. There were some people that joined in, and I think it was another TikToker who's a psychologist. I pointed out that as immigrants, when we come to the United States, we have a tendency of letting people call us whatever they want with our name. So I've been called Luis, Louis, all this other stuff, and for 42 years, I never acknowledged that. I never fought for my name. So I was like, no, I need to sort of come up and actually tell people what my name is. It's my favorite name. So because it's my favorite name, and the reason is when I was little, my mom had to come to the United States, and I was left behind in Dominican Republic. So the whole time, people just calling me Willie, Willie, Willie. I thought my name was Willie. But I heard this young man, older than us, really cool guy, and he had this name, and the name was Lewis. And I was like, wow, that is an amazing name, man. I wish I would have that name. So, time passes. My mom was able to come back to pick me up, and she asked me, do you know your full name? And I said, yeah, Willie. I said, my name is Willie. She's like, no, your name is Lewis. My mind was like, wow. I was like, that's got to be amazing. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Right.
That's a beautiful story. And how old were you when you finally found out you're a Louis?
I was 7 years old.
7. Because you always thought it was Willie.
Wow. Yeah. The sad part is that after that, I never sort of fought for it in the sense, because my brother ended up doing the same thing. We all were called nicknames growing up, but there were times that people would say it. I just follow along with the crowd. Like, yeah, my name's Luis. My name is Louis. My name is I'll just go along with it. And it wasn't till I acknowledged it, weeks ago. This is weeks ago. This is not like this is recent. So for me, it was that. It is that.
Wow. And how many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids. I have 2 older boys, and or the boss, I call. So they're 12, 10, and 6. My 2 boys are the older, and then my youngest is 6 years old. Her name's Anna Sophia. She's amazing.
Oh, that's fantastic. Talking about childhood now, what was your most favorite memory that gave you such joy as a child that you can remember right now?
Um, I, to be honest with you, as a child, I always looked at the brightest side of everything, right? And the coolest thing was that growing up in Dominican Republic, we always had this view of, the United States as like, they used to call it the green country because they said, listen, if you go there, there's money everywhere. Like it's on the streets, it's flowing all over. And I'm like, this is insane. So I literally, when I came to the United States at 7 years old, I got into the plane took off, it was amazing, landed in New York, and I'm walking out because we're gonna meet some family members. And literally a $20 bill starts rolling and it hits my foot and I grab
Are
it.
you kidding me?
I'm like, yes, like this is so true. This is amazing. Like this
No
is
way.
like, so for me, that was the last moment I ever had money just roll onto my card.
Oh my.
But for me, it was like, oh, okay, this is what this is what it was talked about. So
They were right.
yeah, exactly. But as we get older, we're like, oh no, it's completely different. It's completely different. Like, where's the money? Where is
Yeah. Where did it go?
exactly.
Oh,
So
that's great. Let me ask you, now I think I heard on Joe Tang's live that, did you serve in the military?
I did.
You
Yeah,
did. Thank you for your service. And what,
oh, no.
what branch?
Yeah. Oh, I was in the Army. I was in there for 4 years. I joined when I was 18. And it was and the reason that I joined, which later on came to mean, it means more when you're in there. And you sort of have a camaraderie and you bond with a lot of people. But for me, I joined because a friend of mine was supposed to pick me up, 18 years old, we're trying to have fun, do all this stuff. And he was late and the recruiter called me and he gave me this amazing, like, yeah, you can do this, you can go do that. I'm like, sure, I'll go and I'll do it. I was supposed to go initially for 6 years, but I ended up breaking my foot and they had to change it. So I had to do another 4-year contract, which is different. And then I went, I left around 18 years old and I joined the Army. And to be honest, it was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had. They're good times, they're bad times, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change it. And for me, what it means now, because I love to serve. I love to serve people. And that is ultimate way, because when you do the oath, the ultimate way is that you're putting your life literally on the line for this country. So for me, it was just amazing. Yeah, it was just amazing.
Yeah, and that's why I think a lot of servicemen and women, the respect that people have is because you take that oath, and it's just a high respect that we have for you, and it's a beautiful thing. Switching gears, we all need to know, what's your favorite cereal?
Favorite cereal. So it is really, so I grew up with this cereal, and it's just literally cornflakes. Like
Cornflakes.
It's just literally cornflakes. Because for me, growing up, right, everybody would get all the other cereals, but my mom would always buy like cornflakes, right? And the thing with it is it was just plain but it was, for me, it was just like the thing that I didn't understand. So it was a different breakfast routine for coming here. So for me, the fact that like we had this cereal that was just cornflakes and you can do whatever to it, you can add whatever you want to it, fruits, whatever. For me, cornflakes was the thing that I loved the most. And people say, why'd you like Lucky Charms or Cocoa Puffs, all this stuff? Like, yeah, I get that, but this was my cereal growing up. So yeah, it just.
Do you still eat it?
I still do. I still do.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating? Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's wonderful what we can learn about a person from their favorite cereal.
Completely, right? Completely. Yeah.
And what makes you belly laugh? Like, what do you like? Comedic movies and comedic TikToks? What gives you that belly laugh?
I love comedy. I don't do comedy. I'm not a. When I'm in with friends and we have conversations, yes, I have a tendency to be in that way. Because my dad was an amazing, like, he would make anybody laugh. But for me, it's like, I love comedy. I love watching comedians do their process because it's so it is so, it's a great process in the sense that in comedy, you know, pain plus time equals comedy. So for me, it's just like when I watch a comedian go through the process, there's a, to me, it's like there's a truth in everything that a comedian said, because some use their pain in order to make other people laugh. But for me, comedy is it is a great medicine. It's a way, it's a great way to look at life, because you have some people that do they will give you like an amazing perspective of life through their comedy. One of my favorite comics is Dave Chappelle, because he literally puts it in your face, things that you're like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. George Carlin, amazing. Richard Pryor, like they like literally put it in your face. So for me, comedy is something that I think a lot of people need. You need to laugh once in a while. You have to laugh at the things that you think is so serious, and laugh at the silly things too. So yeah.
Life can be taken so seriously and too seriously sometimes, and we just have to play and be a kid and enjoy life and take ourselves back to that childhood where we think, you know, back when you were playing out in the streets or whatever, and your parents said it's time to come in, and you're like, oh. And the world just crashed down. Are you doing, speaking of that, are you fulfilling your purpose? Are you in your passion right now?
I'm going to tell you something. Like, so two things have happened while I started doing my lives. And this is why I keep doing them. Like I do them from Monday to Saturdays, like at 8:30, sometimes a bit later because, you know, kids and everything. But in the last one, the whole thing about my name came up, and that was like a revelation for me. The second thing is just like I heard somebody speak about it. Like even Joe Tang literally said, you know, one day I had written something in my journal and I looked at it, and what was in my journal I was doing now. I was like, this was the passion that I needed now. And the second revelation for me was that as I'm doing this live, I'm talking to somebody, and then the last 2 weeks I've had amazing conversations with people. And the revelation was I wanted to do this so much so that I had thought about it and I had written about it, because I live in Massachusetts, really close to Boston, right? And they literally redid that whole area with the big dig and all the stuff because it was just gloomy and dark. And they made like a green, they call it the Greenway, which it goes all around, it goes right through Boston, nice grass, nice stuff. And they had benches and sprinkler, beautiful. It's beautiful now. And I just wanted to literally bring a sign, bring a cooler with some water and some stuff in the summer, and sit down and put a sign that says, let's start a conversation with no judgment, no expectation, nothing. Let's just sit down and talk. Tell me about you. No questions is automatic. Even if you want to ask about me, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to judge it. And I wanted to do that so bad. And it just kept on in my head. I'm like, and then as I'm in my live and I was saying something, I was like, I'm literally doing that right now. Yeah. I was having these conversations, and I'm like, I was doing it. It didn't deliver it to me. You know, if somebody was talking about manifestation, I said, it didn't deliver it to me in the way that I wanted.
In the form,
in the form completely. But it gave it to me exactly how I needed it. And it was amazing. And it's amazing to me.
It is. And what's amazing to me is that TikTok has done that for so many people, including myself. It's like we're kind of getting out of our box and finding our way and being able to speak with other people from different parts of the world. That is just so beautiful to have different conversations and different points of view and perspectives, and to be able to analyze ourselves and think about what we need and what we're looking for, and to manifest that with our thinking and our positivity. You know, I think you need positivity and negativity, you know, but what is going to serve us best. And this platform has been it for us.
Completely. And I've always said, like, the one thing that when I go, especially like in the mornings where everybody goes to Joe's Live, like the people that I have now got to know as friends, and that are like-minded, people like you, people like Faith, people like Kim, all these people that are like
and
amazing.
Kim, and like we could just list it, and they're all on Discord now too, which I love that Joe is doing that. But we have to wrap it up, and I wish we could talk longer. But this is part of the co-creating impact, just to be able to chill and really tell our truth and be able to open up. And I really appreciate you being on here, Luis. I love learning that name, and thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Namaste.
Namaste, my friend. Brought to you by breaktherage.org and itstimesunshine.com, finding resources for health and mental wellness.